Hey guys, what's up? It's Monkazunky and welcome to the 9th episode of the Pelicans MyGm. So before we get started, we're looking at the playoff picture here. So in the Eastern Conference, the Cleveland Cavaliers that we beat a couple episodes ago in a really good game are in first place. And in the Western Conference, the Pelicans are in first place and they actually have the best record in the entire NBA now. And the Oklahoma City Thunder are a close second, only a couple games behind. But we are going to be playing, I believe, the third place team in the Western Conference in the Houston Rockets. And this should be a really good game because both of these teams have great rosters. Both of them have a superstar in James Harden, and both of them have a premier center, Dwight Howard for the Rockets, and we have Andre Drummond. So it should be a good game. We're also at home, so I had high hopes for how this game was going to turn out. However, James Harden can be very difficult to beat, and also in 2K, the Rockets have always been my nemesis. I've always had a really hard time beating this team for whatever reason. They just always seem to blow me out every single time I play them. Everyone has that one team in 2K that's just very difficult for them to beat. For me, it's the Rockets. But we start off the game with a steal, and then Drew Holiday would get the dunk on the other end, so a really good start on the game off of a sloppy play by the Rockets. Although that would not happen that much, but another sloppy play by James Harden, another breakaway dunk by Drew Holiday. So starting out the game with a couple steals and Drew Holiday being the beneficiary of both of those. But James Harden would get his team started with the step back, and he was being guarded by Chris Middleton, who is my best defender. So I was hoping that he would maybe neutralize James Harden to a degree. That did not work out as well as I hoped, but Drew Holiday would get another nice finish, and he was our main player in the first quarter here, scoring a lot of our points, and we just left Jared Dudley wide open for three. He would hit that, and the Rockets, just like in real life, like to shoot a lot of threes in transition. Jared Dudley again pulling up, he hits the three. All of a sudden the Rockets had a lead. Our nice start has dissipated, but a beautiful pass from Drew Holiday to Tyreke Evans, and he would dunk it, just threading the needle over Terrence Jones with that pass. And then Drew Holiday catching a pass from Evans on the other end, and he would score that bucket as well. So both Holiday and Evans, really nice start here. And then we get a wide open three from Chris Middleton. He gets his day started with a three-pointer. Never a good idea to leave him open. He's probably the best three-point shooter on the team, at least the best three-point shooter in the starting lineup. James Harden with the tip slam, which is just insane. I had no idea he had those kind of hops. Like, he's an athletic dude, but still, I mean, he's not the tallest guy in the NBA either. And then Dwight Howard with a tip slam as well. Back-to-back tip slams by the Rockets, but Dwight Howard gets those all the time, so that's nothing new for him. And then James Harden's wide open for a three. He hits that. We call timeout because the Rockets are just firing on all cylinders in this first quarter. So now the Rockets bench started to come into the game, and the Rockets starters were so good with James Harden and Dwight Howard out there that for the most part during this game, I needed to get my points when the bench was on the floor, hitting a three at the end of the clock in the first quarter. So we're only down by 2 going into the second quarter. But my main plan was to, I guess, push the tempo when the bench was on the floor, because the Rockets bench is very, very poor. There was not a lot of firepower there, although sometimes they did have Dwight Howard out there with the bench, so that helped anchor the bench's defense. But most of the time when the bench was in the game, I was able to go on scoring runs and such. Bad play by Evans here, turning the ball over. They're running on fast break, and James Harden would finish because he always does, and it's very, very difficult to stop that. I almost shot that three with Andre Drummond, which would have been a bad idea, but Tyreke Evans instead hits a three. So we're only down by 4 at this point, and Drew Holiday is back in the game, and he's just going insane this game, dunking yet again. Normally, Drew Holiday is more of the playmaking type, mostly making plays for Davis and Evans and people like that to score, but he was just going off in this game, and maybe it shows I should be making more drives to the rim with him in the future. But the Rockets hit another couple of threes with Oliver Hanlan, who is a drafted rookie, really low overall. So I wasn't expecting too much out of him, and I guess I didn't really respect playing him that much, so I sagged off him a lot, and that's how he got all of his points, his wide open jumpers. And they also had, you know, pretty much everyone on this Rockets team can shoot threes other than Dwight Howard and their backup center, but even their power forwards can shoot threes, so it's just a three-point shooting fest. Dwight Howard with the nice play and the nice dunk there. We're going into halftime, and the Rockets have had the lead pretty much the entire game. I really would like to change that as Kyle Quinn gets a nice rebound and puts it back in, and we don't quite get the lead by the time halftime rolls around, but we are only down by 1 point. So here's the halftime stats. The Rockets shooting really good from the free throw line, us not so much. They're shooting amazing from the three-point line, but most of those threes are wide open just because their plays were really working today. And James Harden leads everyone in scoring with 19 points at the break, and if you have 19 points at halftime, you're probably going to be leading most games in scoring at that point. He has been unguardable, even by our best defender, Chris Middleton. Yet again, disrespecting Oliver Hanlon. I was trying to, shade him to the baseline. I just gave him too much space, and he blows by you. And that's what you get when they start like a 70 overall rookie. You don't expect him to do anything, but everyone in the NBA can make some plays at least. And James Harden would hit another three. And so far, our plan of winning the game has not been going so well in the second half. Anthony Davis finally shows up on a highlight. He did get some work in today, but it was mostly through free throws and mid-range jumpers, and nothing all that exciting, so they don't typically show up on the highlight reel. And James Harden would get another pick and roll finish, and he's just deadly with the pick and roll every single time. It seems that he either gets a bucket or gets an assist for a bucket. So Nick Johnson off of the bench would hit a three here. So the Rockets bench mob is back in the game, which means I want to be making a run, and we'll see how that works. Chris Middleton misses, but Thomas Robinson is there for a dunk, and he even gets a replay on just a simple putback dunk. So I'm not sure what that's all about, but there you go. Kyle Quinn with the nice back down and on Nick Johnson here. And if you're trying to guard a center with a player like Nick Johnson, who's maybe 6'3" or 6'4", I'm going to do that to you every single time. Just back him down and score. So it's usually not a good idea. Chris Middleton would hit a three here, which would prompt a Rockets timeout. And then after the timeout, of course, the Rockets would extend their lead yet again, as they always do, with DeLon Wright, another drafted rookie after this past offseason, hitting the threes. The Rockets have a couple nice rookies, I guess. One's a starter, one's a fairly solid bench player. The oop there to Chris Middleton. Unfortunately, he didn't dunk it, but it's still 2 points. But the Rockets have just had this like 8 to 9 point lead for the majority of the third quarter. And Anthony Davis finally gets up and he dunks off of the nice play off of this Rockets scrub power forward trying to guard him, and Chris Middleton would hit a long two-pointer here. And we're maybe getting into a run here. Runs have been hard to come by against the Rockets just because their offense is so good that it seems like every time you score 5 points in a row, they'll go right back and score 5 points in a row of their own. So it's just a war of attrition and very, very difficult to build up any sort of a run against them. But Drew Holiday is trying to cut it back up close again, and this game would come down close at the very, very end, but for the most part, the fourth quarter was a struggle, just back and forth and back and forth. But we did finally get that run that we were hoping for, with Drew Holiday they're leaving Andre Drummond wide open, so he passes it down to him. There's an easy dunk, and a lot of times Dwight Howard would go up on some of those pick and rolls and guard the ball handler, just leaving his man to get an easy lay-in or dunk after the pass to him, which I didn't fully understand, but that's what he was deciding to do. So Chris Middleton, yet again, the same thing with Tyreke Evans this time instead of Andre Drummond. They just let the man slip to the rim off of the pick and roll, and he does his thing. Chris Middleton here, just so much hype, just steps back, pulls up in three dudes' faces, and hits a three. That's a terrible shot, but he hit it, so I'm going to give that to him. He is tall enough to get that shot off, though, if he feels like he can make it. James Harden is blocked by, I forget who, but someone. And then Drew Holiday is just going to take it himself and dunk in transition. And there's only 30 seconds left, but we're only down by 4, so if we can hit some shots, and Anthony Davis is going to do just that. Slipping the pick and roll again, another wide open bucket. And unfortunately, you can't really force your teammates to slip the pick and roll, but when they did, it was so effective against the Rockets. And Tyreke Evans would hit a three. So we're only down by 2 points. We foul the Rockets. They do make both of their free throws. Pretty much all the Rockets did here was get fouled and make a bunch of free throws. That's why I'm not showing it. Drew Holiday pulling up, hitting the three. We're only down by 1 point. The Rockets have to call timeout. They would get fouled yet again. We're only down by 3. Chris Middleton has been hot all game. It's a near perfect release, but it does not drop, unfortunately. And the Rockets end up winning by 3. That last bucket by Davis does not count. If that had gone in, we would have been going to overtime, and that would have been an awesome shot. That was so close to a perfect release by Chris Middleton, but just did not quite make it. So Drew Holiday had an amazing game, 27 points. Chris Middleton had 23. Anthony Davis, not such a great game, only 14 and 8, but Chris Middleton and Drew Holiday were hot, so I was going to them all game. Drew Holiday probably would have won player of the game if we had obtained the victory, but James Harden was the real player of the game, 41 points, just ridiculous. He was unguardable. Dwight Howard was solid, but this was definitely the James Harden show all night. Anyway, thank you guys for watching. I'll see you next time. Farewell.